Watching Blue Lock, you basically are constantly asking yourself, who even is the main character? And that's the sign you have an amazing sports series on your hands, because even though, yes, we know our boy Isagi is the main character overall for this show, the quality of the character writing and the big moments the entire cast more or less gets will honestly have you saying, oh man, Baro's actually the MC. Oh man, here's Rin, he's the true MC. Batra, don't count him down. The amount of little monsters, and this episode was kind of like a monster mash. It just is such chaos, such skill and determination that this 4v4, every time you think you found a new favorite sports match in this wonderful show, every episode manages to one-up itself, or each match manages to one-up itself. And seriously, Blue Lock hits different. Now, I have a full live reaction to today's wonderful episode available on my Patreon, so if you want to see my full uncut thoughts to today's episode, head on over there and consider supporting. This was an amazing episode. There's moments where you can nitpick the animation, say, ooh, that was a really noticeable 3D shot, but they're still managing 21 episodes in to have moments where the characters they feel like dancers. They feel like they're dancing on water, and you're saying that doesn't make sense. Are you Jesus Christ? How are you walking on water? But leave it to Rim, leave it to all of these characters to continue to blow me away. I said it last week, it's anyone's match, and I'm leaving this episode saying it's anyone's match to win or lose. The fact that rather than just having one side dominate, like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 goals, oh man, we need to get 5 goals or we're eliminated. No, it's like, they get a goal, we get a goal. They get a goal, we get a goal. And each time it happens, it's hard not to be hyped the hell up for whoever just got the goal. It very much feels like there's two clear possibilities that this show goes towards. Either A, Isagi's team ends up winning, and most likely there will be at least one goal that he himself gets that will change the course of everything. Or, if they go the route of Batra's team winning, our boy Batra, he has to get that last goal in my opinion, because right now it feels like he's looking at these two monsters, Rin and Isagi, and he's like, I finally found my people are with me, and he's getting left behind. And based on how the episode ends, it feels like the little monster within him is about to bite off a head or two. So it's interesting, right? Because in theory, if they ended up winning, the only way I could see Isagi getting pulled towards their team is if Batra convinces the others, and that could work for narrative purposes. But when you look at it from the other perspective of, if Isagi's team ends up winning, how does everyone not convince Isagi that he's wrong, that Batra isn't the one to bring over? Because as it stands, that's who he wants to bring over if they win. But when you look at Rin, that shot, they literally thought there's only two ways that it could go, and the fact that he kicks so extreme, which if we remember, the first scene we really see of him when they're initially going through the doors and going through that little training moment before this recent selection, he literally did a shot that curved in such a way that you thought he was superhuman. So the fact that he went just like an inch above their heads and managed to get that goal, Baro couldn't even get there in time if he wanted to. He's an absolute unit. So this is interesting because a common idea that we're seeing fairly recently when you look at certain characters, especially like Rio, in terms of feeling like he's being left behind. If Isagi's team wins and they don't pick Batra, what would that do to his psyche? That could be some very good characterization. And if, honestly, Isagi's team does lose, how do they not pick Baro? How do they not pick Nagi? Honestly, Nagi seems to be the one that I would think they would want to bring over the most, because right now it feels like he's the one who's been highlighted the most, but then again, Baro did pop off and become a very fierce lion, so right now, honestly, it's anyone's game still, but what I like about Blue Lock, because of the system that they designed, the elimination tactics and how you can bring characters over, it is so fun to speculate about what you think the possibilities are. Sometimes you might hit it on the head, and then other times it completely goes in a different direction, and I really like that about this show. Another thing I really like, because I don't give a crap about soccer, I don't give a crap about sports in general, right? But the shows that manage to get me hyped up are the ones that make it more exciting for non-sports fans. And something that I typically find boring is the dry spells of a match, when they talk about tactics. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't be there, they should, otherwise it's just a bunch of characters kicking a ball around, throwing a ball around, and there's no logic behind it, where Blue Lock's all about that. The thing that I really like, and I think it helps because I'm more of a visual learner, is Blue Lock goes the route of not overwhelming you with dialogue of what characters are planning. They explain it in layman's terms, but the visual diagrams that they'll use to say this is what they're doing. So I may not know terms, I may not know exactly what they're saying, but the visual diagram allows me, and probably most people watching the show, to keep up. And I really think that's the big difference in terms of the simplistic moments of the show, that most sports series, they explain the plays and they make sense, but man are they boring for me most of the time. But this one, the visual diagrams, they go a long way. The fact that they're constantly spicing up the animation, yes, sometimes the 3D can be noticeable, but most of the time in those big moments, just the plays are so incredible that it more than makes up for some shortcomings in prior scenes. You have the different atmosphere that they give for each character. You have the almost puppeteer imagery for our boy Batra, which was just such a great detail to just really get the atmosphere and the momentum going in this episode. The lion imagery with our boy Barrow. But I love how when you compare the different personalities, right, a character like Barrow makes sense to have him engulfed in flames visually. But a character like Rin, he's more of a cool, calm, and collected. He's a team player, he uses his team, and he would never consider devouring his team members the same way someone like Barrow would. So having him be surrounded by this almost water bubble, because in the prior episode we saw the animation almost like he was dancing and floating on water, and in this episode you see different images that just really go a long way to showcase the characters' personalities, but how different their playstyles truly are. Because seriously, we are 21 episodes into this, and just consider where our boys started out at the very first episode. Compared to where they're at now, I mean, characters like Batra, who just recently were with our boy, right? I mean, yeah, it's been a little bit since they were separated, but considering the fact that things that he thinks, oh, I know exactly what he's going to do, he actually was doing this, he never saw it coming. The way the characters and these teams are evolving and how it's breaking characters out of their shell is doing wonders not only for their playstyles to finally evolve in the proper way, but most importantly, really make it feel like, while yes, Isagi is the main character of Blue Lock, it's not written in a way that only he gets these great moments. A lot of times I see the criticism of like, oh, they're the main character, so of course they always end up winning, or they get a power-up, or they get something that feels like only the MC would get. But when you look at every match of Blue Lock, there's at least a few characters, whether on both sides of the team or one team, where you look at them and say, that's what an author would write the MC to get. And only the MC to get. And seriously, it is anyone's game at any point in this match right now. I mean, it's 1 goal to go, Isagi's team loses, 2 goals to go, and they win. And I am excited to see, because no matter the possibility of win or lose for Isagi, the one thing that is consistent with this show is the shakeup of a team does wonders. And I am excited. Whether Isagi wins and they are convinced to take Batra, or if they don't, what that could do to his character, and should Isagi's team lose, realistically, the only way I could see it working, because we already bumped his team down following that perspective, if they brought Isagi over to Rin's team, I could see how that wouldn't feel repetitive. But then again, this author has done things where I thought you have to do it this way, otherwise it would fail. And they didn't go that direction, and it still succeeded. So I don't know, I'm really excited. I thought this match was incredible. Every time I try to find a new favorite match, I know if I say this is my favorite match, the next match we see in season 2 is probably going to be even better, let's be honest, right? But yeah, that's just my feelings. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload on the channel, and of course, as I mentioned, I do have that full live reaction available on my Patreon. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.